Hello my friends, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. Guys, I'm still playing catch up, so here we have part 2 from last week's tell-all. And that's 90 Day Fiance, The Other Way, the season 4 tell-all. Just before we get into things, I just want to say thank you so much for all of the beautiful messages I got from you guys, worrying about me and wondering where I was. I'm absolutely fine. I did a video a couple of days ago just updating you guys on why I didn't drop a video for a couple of months. But as you see and as you hear, I'm back. I'll link the video down below if any of you want to know. But thank you so much for all your good wishes and positivity. Right, just before we start, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Smash that big red button and join the Ebird family. And so without further ado, I give you the tell-all part 2. So we're going to start today with Nicole and Mahmoud. But first, let's have a wise word from Tim, nice but dim. And he gives us some absolute pearls of wisdom. He said they hate each other and they're never ever going to be right. Firstly, Tim, I don't think they hate each other. Otherwise, they wouldn't be planning to move Mahmoud to America. And from what I hear, he's already actually in the USA. But also, thanks for the amazing insight. They hate each other and they're never going to be right. Wow, I'm just so pleased that TLC brought Tim on. His intuitive perception of relationships is second to none. Well, second perhaps to just Sean, who, as insightful as ever, asked Mahmoud, how do you feel about coming to the US of A? And he said, yeah, I'm really happy about it. Mahmoud, you forgot to tell your face. Let your face know that you're happy about it. And then Nicole let everybody know, well, everybody who's not an idiot, that she came back to the USA first so she could get set up with an apartment and she could get a job and help Mahmoud when he comes over. And Sean asked Mahmoud, how will you feel that Nicole's going to be the breadwinner? And he said it's fine, she's my wife and we're a team, we are one. Which, to be fair, is the right answer. And then they go down memory lane and they talk a little bit about when they met and how he proposed to her within just 1 week. And Nicole says, yeah, it's crazy I did that. And Sean said, you converted to be Muslim 2 days before you married. Did you know a lot about Islam? And Nicole said, indeed. No, she didn't. Of course she didn't. She still thought she could walk around wearing hot pants instead of hijabs. And then she conceded, well, no, I didn't look into it properly. And Mahmoud said, well, I told her my kid's going to be Muslim, so it's better that she convert before we marry. And Gabe asks, what happens if your child doesn't want to be Muslim? And Mahmoud took ages to answer, and then he said, don't worry about that. My kids will be Muslim. I'll teach them how to be. But Gabe had the bit between his teeth now, and he said, what happens if you have a daughter? Are you going to force her to wear a hijab? And Mahmoud said, Islam doesn't force anybody to do anything. It's up to her what she wears. And Gabe said, well, why do you try and tell Nicole what to wear? And Mahmoud said, this is between Nicole and me. It's nothing to do with anybody else. Seemingly, it's also nothing to do with Nicole. The way you tell it, Mahmoud. But guys, at this present time, I can very much see that these two still haven't reconciled as to what Nicole's going to wear and where the boundaries are going to be drawn. Nicole tells us it seems so superficial to worry about clothes. Nicole, my love, you're in the fashion industry. Please let's not try and talk about superficial. And it's very clear to me that this argument is going to rumble and I don't see any resolution to it. And guys, I'm not lying. I was just thinking to myself, why does everybody talk about Islam and say force, and you can't force your child into a religion? But it only really ever gets talked about so negatively when it's Islam. And Sean said exactly what I was thinking when she said the following. If we were talking about a Jewish couple here or a Christian couple that were planning to bring their child up within the same faith, would we all be talking about it in the same terms? And do you know what? I don't think we would. Here's what usually happens. Whatever religion the parents are, they bring the child up in the same religion. And when the child becomes of age, of course they're free. They choose what they want to do. I'm not saying there might not be problems or arguments about it if they decide to flip religions or reject religion altogether. But it does seem as if there's an awful lot of pressure on Mahmoud to say that he's not going to bring his child up in his religion. Now, I do understand that he's tried to force Nicole to wear what he wants her to wear, but stupidly enough for her, she did agree to do it before looking into it all and before really discovering what Islam was all about. And so I think that he thought when they got married that she was on board with it all. And so really I don't think we can say it's all his fault. It's both their fault. They didn't take time and they didn't talk about things enough before they got married. But if you go to places like Egypt and Tunisia, both of which I've been to, you see an awful lot of women without headscarves. And although they do dress more modestly than we do here in the West, not all Muslims cover up. I think all of us must know some Muslims who don't cover their hair. Anyway, everybody starts shouting at Mahmoud and he loses his rag. Well, I guess mainly Gabe, but he loses his rag, snatches off his microphone and he storms out. It's what he does best. He loves to storm out. Nicole starts crying and apologising. And Sean lets us all know, oh dear, we've lost Mahmoud. You haven't lost him, my love. He's been screamed out of the studio. Oh dear, it's a mess, guys. It's a mess. And so we go backstage to find out where Mahmoud is. Oh dear, guys, he's having a meltdown.
You know what's important here, honey? Is that you tell your truth.
So what this happening today is like 3 hours stop. Tell him stop meaning to me. Like this so bad way. Me looks bad. Looks my country bad. Looks my religion bad. Like why?
And Mahmoud continues ranting and raving, and he said it's not his business. Why should he say things about my religion and how my kids are going to be? We haven't even got kids yet. And you know what? I agree with him. I don't really know what Gabe's issue is, but he's from Egypt. He's from another religion. They behave differently there. They're trying to merge two different ideologies. Cut him some slack. But then Nicole said, well, you need to explain to them your side of the story and how you see things. But I would have liked to have seen just a tiny bit more support from Nicole to Mahmoud when everybody was sort of shouting at him and firing questions at him. But very unfortunately, the point that Sean made about Christians and Jews and so on went completely unheard by anyone on the stage. Are you going to bring your kids up to go to church every Sunday and be a Christian? More than likely, yes. Where's the difference? And as far as I'm concerned, Gabe is inflaming the situation and is not even asking any questions. And so Mahmoud storms back into the studio theatrically in a style not seen since, well, Angela of Angela and Michael. And he decided to give Gabe a piece of his mind. Beep beep fucking beep beep asswipe. I'm not sure exactly what was said, but Gabe tries to deflect and said, oh, he's only saying that to me because I asked him a question. When anybody asks him a question, he always just runs off. You asked him a question, didn't give him a chance to respond, and then let fly with a volley of insults and try to tell him how he should live his life within his religion. That's what you did, Gabe. Let's have it right. And when Nicole got back to the studio, as per usual, she's in floods of tears. Gabe said, I'm sorry. And he said my dad and stepmom are Muslim, and we got the choice. And so it's closer to home than you would imagine. Gabe, if you'd just explained that in the first place and asked questions without sounding accusatory, you might have gotten further. But guys, I absolutely love Debbie. Debbie walked over and gave Nicole a big hug and said, we're not trying to judge you. And she more or less said there's space for everybody and everybody's views. And she managed to calm her down. Back over in Idiot's Corner, Tim said, well, I don't think Gabe was that bad. If Mahmoud can't take that, he's in the wrong place. And so next up they decide to talk to Gabe and Isabel. And Gabe tells us all the bulge business is going super well. And he has lots of clients that are men. What? Bulges for men? Bear with me a moment, guys. Yep, I'm just making a quick call to my ex-boyfriend. I'm letting him know that finally there's help out there for people like him. I'll just leave a voicemail. And so Gabe and Isabel tell us a bit about the business, and apparently they're both 50-50 partners in the bulge business. And then Gabe's best friend comes on. You know, the one that Isabel doesn't like. I think his name was Trey. Oh dear, Isabel. Tyrone, Troy and Trey. They're all a type now, aren't they? Cheaters. And Sean asked Isabel, why don't you like Gabe hanging around with this guy? And she said in not so many words that he's a womanizer and is always in clubs and she just doesn't want that for her husband. Nah, you know what? I think it makes sense. They can hang around together, but just not too much and just not too late at night. And she said if he creates all these opportunities for Gabe, it's going to be easier for him to fail. But what happened next? Well, it had me clutching my pearls. With friends like this guy, Gabe certainly doesn't need enemies because he told everybody with very little prompting, or in fact with no prompting at all. Well, when we go out, Gabe pulls loads of girls. What? Isabel does not look happy at all. And Gabe puts his head in his hands as if to say, oh shit, I've been caught. Guys, what time is it? It's about time for the 1-2 flipperoo. Trey decided then to backtrack a little bit. When he heard the reaction that was on stage and the reaction of Gabe and Isabel, he said, well, it's not Gabe going up to girls, it's girls going up to Gabe. I mean, that could well be true, although I find it somewhat unlikely. But you can tell this guy's here for the shadizzle. He wants trouble, because why even say that? He certainly knows he's stirring the pot. And so then the cast have a discussion about players and womanizers, and Debbie points out, where there are players, there are playettes. And she doesn't want her husband around these playettes. But Trey then said that he thinks that Isabel is jealous, and that she should let Gabe off the leash a little bit more. And Isabel said, I don't tell him what to do, I just state my opinion. The Ebird stated her opinion to someone many moons ago. It went a little something like this. Las Vegas, on a boys' trip. If you decide to go, put a bet on the odds of the Ebird still being there when you get back. You know, guys, little opinions like that. Oh dear, Isabel, the Ebird can imagine what form those opinions take. And so Isabel explains, all I'm doing is taking care of my relationship. And back over in Idiot's Corner, Tim, nice but dim, and Veronica are both saying Isabel comes off as super jealous. But then Tim decides to furnish us all with his knowledge of Latin women. He said, they're all super jealous, the whole continent of them. Yes, they're jealous. Thanks, Tim, once again. This tell-all just couldn't run without you. And so finally, and not a moment before time, Sean says adios to Gabe's friend Trey. So yeah, guys, I do think that Gabe and Isabel make a great couple. I love their little dynamic and their family, and I kind of understand where Isabel's coming from. When you get married and you've got a business together and you've got family life, you don't want a little, I don't know, interloper coming and snatching your husband off all the time to go out to nightclubs and chat to girls. Think about it logically. Whilst he's busy chatting up girls, Gabe's standing on his own. What happens to the friend that the girl is with, that he's chatting to? That girl's going to end up chatting to Gabe. It's just not an ideal scenario. But I don't think they should never be allowed to go out. But I think they should just temper their nights out. And I do think it's a good thing that Isabel is letting Gabe know what she expects and being open about how she feels with regard to Trey. And I think that some of Trey's problems are of his own making, because it seems to me that he's trying to push her buttons. And then when he does so, saying, see, she's jealous, she's jealous. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't, but your behaviour certainly doesn't make anything any easier, not for you and not for Gabe. But I did like the fact that Gabe actually said to her, she's my everything, she's the most beautiful woman ever. And I think he's doing and saying the right things to make her feel, I don't know, more secure within the relationship. But guys, as usual, please let me know down below, what do you guys think? I'm going to cut the video here and speak about Jen and Rishi in a separate video, otherwise it's going to become really, really long. But I'd also really like to know what you think about Gabe's treatment of Mahmoud earlier. Do you think he came in a little heavy and hot and strong? I think he did. When you're firing questions at somebody, at least give them a chance to respond. And also, it's the way he asked the questions. He didn't say, are you going to bring them up as Muslim? He said, are you going to force your kids to be Muslim? The use of the word force was completely unnecessary, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. Just before I go, please don't forget to support my channel if you've yet to do so. Hit it, press it, smash it, caress it. Subscribe, my friends. Press subscribe. And also, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to smash the like button, and I'll be back very soon with another video. Thank you guys so much for listening. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.
Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just your body, your mind. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of